Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Rose. For those of you that are new to me, I'm the founder of Deeper Love, Better Sex, and I'm a love, dating, and intimacy expert for singles and for couples. I wanted to share with you something today that has been kind of coming up in threes, so it really got my attention over the last couple of days, just kind of out of the blue, not sure why. I was just thinking about this relationship that I was in for a good chunk of my 20s over the course of, I don't know, maybe 7, maybe 8 years. And we were on and off the entire time. I don't know that we were ever together longer than 3 months over the course of those 7 or 8 years. And it was kind of like, couldn't live with him, couldn't live without him. And truthfully, it was probably one of the most draining and challenging relationship cycles that I'd ever been in. There was kind of like this very magnetic force between us. There was a lot of sexual chemistry for sure, but the communication wasn't great. And I remember just as I was about to turn 30, kind of having this conversation with myself. And I remember thinking, I've done this for so many years. We'd break apart, and then I'd be with somebody else, and then we'd kind of find our way back to each other. I remember thinking, I've done this for so long. It's not really satisfying. It's not really giving me what I want. It's not really fulfilling. If I don't stop now, what's to say I'm not going to just continue this for another 4 or 5 or 10 years? It was kind of like a light bulb moment going off where I really recognized this is not what I want. This is not my optimum picture of relationship. And there was something in that moment of just getting really honest and really truthful with myself that allowed me to kind of make a firmer, more cemented decision that I was going to do whatever it took to free myself of that, because it was very clear to me at that point that I was caught in a cycle, and I didn't want to continue. And then this was a theme that was coming up, this exact thing with one of my clients this week, where she's been, kind of back and forth and in and out. And she was describing it as sort of being like an addiction. Like she'll have a period of time where she feels clean and she feels this really firm resolve. And then one of them will text or get back in touch, or they'll miss each other. And then that whole kind of slide back into whatever it is starts again. And then somebody posted about this very thing in my group. So I kind of took it as a sign from the universe that it's asking to be addressed. And as I was reflecting on how it was for me, I was just so relieved that I'm not in that cycle anymore. And this is the thing that changed for me. I was in that, I was willing to stay in that because there were things that I was a yes to that I was not willing to let go of, even though there were many things that I was a no to. But the conversation and negotiation that I was having with myself at that time was, well, I don't want to lose those things. I might not find those things elsewhere. I was kind of like overly attached, almost in a way like addicted to staying in to what I was getting, rather than allowing myself to really be true to my desires and let go of what wasn't working in favor of and in service to calling in something that was working, that did work. So what I was sharing with my client is, it's kind of like why I do these steps with my clients, is there's something about really owning, really getting crystal clear. What does that love vision look and feel like? It's not something that I just pull out of thin air. It's something that we extrapolate from all the relationships that they've been in. Each one was a learning experience and a laboratory. Every relationship teaches us about what really works and what we absolutely are not a yes to anymore. Personally, I don't really like the word settle. It's more about what am I a yes to and what am I willing to be a stand for, so I don't have to keep saying yes to something that just doesn't match that. So the first part is getting really clear. What does that love vision not just look like? More importantly, what does it feel like? If you're a woman, when you're standing next to your man, where you have that feeling in your heart, where your heart is open and your body is relaxed, and you're looking at him and you have the sense of, I'm so glad it's you, not that feeling of, yeah, you're okay, you're better than nobody. I like to raise the bar a little bit higher than that. So if you are currently caught in an on again, off again, or there's somebody that you're dating or hanging out with that you've got a lot of ambivalence toward, that probably means that you're not stepping all the way in. So you might want to just kind of step back a little bit and maybe either make a list, excuse me, of those qualities. More importantly, it's really about how is it going to feel. And then I like to suggest kind of creating like one really potent snapshot image. For me, I have this beautiful deck outside my house I really love being on. I kind of connected to this image, this snapshot feeling and image of being on my deck, looking out at the view together, me just kind of like sinking into him, having that feeling of how good it feels to be with him and in his presence, and the lack of ambivalence or tension inside my body around that. And that was kind of like part of my compass. And it's a very powerful magnetic tool when you combine the image and the sensation and the feeling. So then the other recommendation, the other suggestion I make part of that is, what is it going to take to really be a stand for what you want, and what part of you needs to come online to be able to be a no? If I think back years ago, after I made that decision and I stopped being in relationship with that man, there were definitely times he tried to entice me back. That had been our pattern. It usually happened right at about the time that I was starting to deepen with another man. He'd kind of come back on the scene. But I was really willing to recognize that, and I had a firmer resolve. And I put some specific things in place, some support structures, a coach that I was working with, a girlfriend that I could go to. It's very much like if you've been in addiction for a long time, most people, they either go to a 12-step, or they get some therapy, or they get some specific support to help that pattern release. So those are the two suggestions that I would make. Of course, I go a lot deeper and a lot further when this issue is present for my clients. That's what we have the opportunity to do when we work more deeply. So if you are struggling with this, I'm certainly available. You can reach out to me. We can chat for 10 or 15 minutes and see if we might be a fit. This is something that I'm very familiar with, both personally because I've overcome it. And you're not alone in this. Pretty much, I would say hands down, most women and a good percentage of men that I've worked with have had at least one round of the back and forth. I call it the washing machine cycle. And, we all know if we've done that, it's frustrating. It's not really nourishing to our heart. And I want you to not have to settle for that. I want you to have something that really lights you up and excites you and is fulfilling. So you can find me at deeperlovebettersex.com, and if you'd like to join the Love Room here on Facebook, you're more than welcome. I look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, I wish you a love-filled day. Bye for now.